Hey everybody, welcome back to Mary Bird's Backyard Garden. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Mary.
And welcome back to the garden with us, folks.
Welcome back to the garden.
Hey, what have you been doing, Mary?
We've been away from home again.
Again? Where are you? What?
Can you believe it?
I can't believe it, actually. Well, I can believe it because we've been right next to each other the whole time.
And what is that called, Jeffrey?
Windshield time. We've had a lot of windshield time. And we are in the north. We've headed north.
Yes, we have.
Cold weather. We've gone from 90 to like 20.
Frozen.
Yeah, it's cold. I'm not going to lie. It's cold up this way.
It was frozen. We were walking out today down a sidewalk and it just took my breath away.
Yes.
This is like middle of winter for us.
Yeah, it's really cold. But it's been fun.
It's been a lot of fun.
Good little road trip.
So interesting. I know. And I guess the road trip is what we have for the What's New section of our podcast.
Well, let me go ahead and just kick that off for you, Mary. What's new in the garden this week?
In the garden. We've been watching spring, different variations of spring coming to life. The further north we go, the less alive everything is beginning to be,
We've gone from green to winter.
We have gone from green to winter. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So where we live is Zone 9A. I mean, things are just growing like crazy. And I'm so excited about the garden this year. It's just been looking so beautiful.
Yes.
So enjoyed being out in it, But as we've traveled north, I've seen some things. We've never been up this way during the springtime. I don't think we've ever traveled up this way during the spring.
I don't think so.
And so I just have loved so much looking at the red bud trees that were coming to life as we traveled through Ohio, and I think they were dogwoods that were blooming while we were going through Kentucky. And then where we are now, we are in Pennsylvania, and everything is just beginning to leaf out. But they have daffodils blooming, white daffodils and yellow daffodils, and it's gorgeous.
And you made the statement about the daffodils that they don't have to put them in their freezer for the winter.
No, they don't have to refrigerate the bulbs.
Them.
I know. Well, where we are, for about 8 weeks out of the year, we have to take the bulbs and place them in our refrigerator drawer so that they have enough cold.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't have to do that here because it's already cold.
Because they get their required chilling hours.
I know. And then the other thing we saw, which did we ever figure out what all the purple flowery things were?
Wasn't that beautiful? Just fields and fields and fields of a purple flower that was sort of low growing. I could not know what that was.
Yeah, it was in Arkansas. Is that where we saw it?
Mm-hmm. I believe it was.
In Arkansas.
And it did look as though it had been planted. And, if it was Texas, I would have almost guessed lavender. But I think it was not time for lavender to bloom as far north as we were.
Interesting.
But it was stunning.
It was cool. And then, of course, we saw an enormous amount of rice fields in Arkansas.
That was super interesting.
No, was it Arkansas?
Yes, it was.
It was Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a very big crop for that area.
I did not know that. We talked about those when we traveled to Florida, but I didn't expect to see it in Arkansas as well.
Right.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. There was, massive amounts. This was like crazy amount.
It was just miles and miles of fields that were getting ready for rice. Mm-hmm. And it was very interesting too. They have just had some very bad weather. They've had floods, and they've also had tornadoes. And so it was kind of interesting to see how the water acted, like where the water was still standing, where it had already drained quite a bit. And Yeah, and then the tornadoes, that was very sad. That was
Yeah,
quite.
yeah, we did see some areas that had been hit by some tornadoes,
Yeah.
which are pretty crazy. They had some crazy weather.
Yes, it was.
Kentucky and Arkansas and some of the states.
Yes.
So hopefully they'll get back, and I don't know if anyone got hurt, but they looked like everything was getting back, getting fixed up. So
Yes, they were working on it.
yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, that has been our what's new in the garden, except we did put out, before we left, we made sure we went all around the garden and put out our Garrett juice formula that is from
The Dirt
the
Doctor.
Dirt Doctor, Howard Garrett, the Dirt Doctor, his recommendation of placing the Garrett juice in your garden. And so we got some, and we did do that, and I'm pretty chuffed and excited. Our roses are really blooming so beautifully this year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious when we get home and kind of see what the changes are, because we see it every day. But when you go
Right.
off for a little bit and then go back, you see what happened.
I'm so curious about that too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very good.
Very good.
Well,
I don't have anything else for what's new in the garden.
I don't think I do. I think we basically been traveling.
Yes.
That's what's new. We hit a bunch of different states, seen a lot of different things. We'll see some more stuff as we keep going, but
Yeah.
very interesting.
That's the best part about the traveling, is enjoying all the different flora. And we saw some fauna. A little
Flora
bit.
and fauna.
And
You have to have them
fauna.
both together. Well, very good. Well, with that in mind, what do you have for us this week?
I wanted to talk a little bit about growing a tea garden.
A tea garden.
A tea garden, like an herbal tea garden.
Okay.
Not like growing the tea plant.
Okay.
I don't know anything about growing the actual plant where you harvest the tea leaves, but there are a lot of plants that are fairly common in our gardens that we can create our own tea, herbal tea. And the reason that I got started down this path is because we visited with our family in Florida, and they took us to a tea shop that they love.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And we bought some little packages of a variety of tea, and it just got me intrigued to find out a little bit more about what do I have that I commonly grow that could make a very nice tea in the garden.
Right.
And I came up with a few plants.
Okay.
So this is going to be a beginner's activity for me. I love to grow all these plants, but using them in tea is going to be a little different. But anyway, the first one I wanted to talk about is basil. We love to grow basil, and it does grow very well for us in the warmer weather. And there's a huge variety of basils that you can grow, but one of them that grows for us every year abundantly is a Thai basil. And it has a really good, it's got a spicy flavor. Some people kind of describe it as being like a licorice type flavor. Oh my goodness, I can't wait to walk through the garden, and just the smell as you brush against the plant is so lovely. And they bloom for us all year, and the pollinators are crazy for them. But maybe that's why I have so many, because the pollinators help take the seeds everywhere. But I love it. I let them grow wherever they fall. And so one of the basils that was recommended is called Tulsi. And I think there's a large variety of Tulsi to look up. But anyways, they usually grow 1 to 2 feet tall, and they can be 2 feet wide as well. Mine get that large as they're growing, and they do love to be in full sun. The Thai basil has a smaller leaf, and it really thrives in a hot, sunny location. So That's a really good one to put in a sort of a drier, like it doesn't like to be really wet. It likes just your average moistness. And yeah, you just harvest the leaves. You could use them fresh. You could steep them in your tea while they're fresh, or you can steep them in your tea dried. Either way, you could dry them. Some of the basils that we grow really well in our area is called a little globe basil, and it grows like a little cheerleader's pom-pom. It doesn't get very big at all, and the leaves on it are teeny tiny, so you could grow it as a decorative plant around the edges of your garden. And they also repel pests, which is quite interesting to me.
Okay.
As you release the oil, it causes the pests not to want to be around there very much. And so your other basils that you would use for pesto, or they have a big old leaf on them, a nice big large leaf. And we have good luck in our area growing them, but we like to provide them with more afternoon shade. So they kind of, they struggle a little bit in the very, very hot. So, but anyway, basil is one that I'm really going to try this year. You might end up with a big glass of basil tea.
Okay, well, I'll give it a shot.
Or, some of the teas, if you really like your iced tea, which I do, I love my iced tea, you could use a little bit of these plants just to provide a different flavor in your iced tea. And I think that the basil might be a good plant to use if you want to cut back on adding sugar or other sweeteners. I think it could provide that good flavor boost in there. And in the same family, which is the mint family, Lamiaceae, which surprises me, basil is also in the mint family. So peppermint, or actually in the mint family, there are so many different flavors. There's apple mint, you could get spearmint, peppermint. There's even one like a double mint type of plant. Wow. You want to grow mint in a separate container of some sort, because they do like a more moist soil, so you could regulate the moisture better. And mint is a plant that can be a little bit of a bully in your garden. It will spread. It will just take over wherever it wants to take over. So be a little bit thoughtful about that and make sure you have it in a place where you can control its growth a little bit. And also, mint is a plant that you can harvest quite readily because it will respond very well and grow back. I mean, I wouldn't go past a third of the plant at any one time. But if you go out there and take a little bit every day, it's going to respond to you and grow quite well. And it does need a moist soil. And a mint will grow pretty similar to our cat mint that we have growing in the backyard.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't really get super tall, about 1 foot tall, but it will spread everywhere. But anyway, I think mint would be good. Now, I did read in several places that mint is one that you want to let it steep in the hot water for an extended amount of time so you could really draw the flavor out of it. And so they did recommend like 10 to 12 minutes for it to just steep in the water. Okay. And some of the other ones are just 2 to 3 minutes, maybe 4 minutes or something like that. And then add it to your iced tea.
Nice.
And then you can decorate your teas with a stem of the mint. That would be very pretty.
Okay.
Yeah. One of the plants that I've had a lot of luck growing, and this is also a plant that I recommend growing in a container, is called lemongrass.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I do. I just love to grow this plant. It's actually in the family Poaceae, and that is the family of grasses. So it is a true grass. And I planted lemongrass in this huge container that had rounded sides to it. And I did not think that this plant was growing very much at all. But in our area, it grows as an annual. And so at the end of the season, when I went to cut off the lemongrass shoot, the grass part, and pull out the roots that were not going to grow anymore, the entire bulb of that container was filled with roots, and they smelled so good.
They do. I know these are, so the three you've talked about, we do have in our garden already.
Yes, nice. I love to grow these every year. Lemongrass can be used fresh, and it's used in Thai food. I think it's used in some other Asian dishes as well. You can use it dried. So at the end of your season, if you live in an area where it's not going to live through the winter, you could cut it at ground level and dry the leaves. You could chop them maybe. And I do think some people freeze the leaves as well. And you could also use this in, as well as tea, you could put it in soups, stews, and sauces. And flavor with a little bit of citrus.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, yes, that is definitely.
I'm a fan of lemon, so I like
lemongrass.
That flavor.
And you know what I like to do is also put it in a small pot of water on the stove and like scent your home with that beautiful flavor.
Nice.
Beautiful scent, I guess you would say.
We'll say flavor.
Not a flavor.
We'll scent it and then we'll drink it.
Yeah, you could scent it and then drink it. And another one, this is going to be a little bit of an experiment because we have grown sage in the past. But specifically for this application, I was going to try to grow some sage. And sage is a huge family of plants. But I was more thinking of trying to grow the pineapple sage, which has a larger leaf to it. It's more like your garden sage or the sage that you would use when you make a turkey and dressing. So it's kind of a little bit of a larger leaf. So for me, I'm going to have to experiment and try to get the correct light level for it. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't tell you about growing your lemongrass.
Oh, okay.
So lemongrass loves the sun. Actually, lemongrass is a pretty good screening plant in a container. If you have a small balcony or something and you want to be able to sit out without everybody being able to look in on you or whatever, lemongrass will grow nice and tall. And it likes to be watered regularly. It doesn't like to sit in soupy soil or anything, but it does like a little bit of moisture and full sun. So on to the sage.
On to the sage.
On to the sage. Let me tell you how to grow this sage.
Okay.
They say full sun, but I think that I'm going to have to play around with that a little bit this year because in the super hot weather, I think it's going to need a little bit more afternoon shade. It likes to be a little bit on the drier side, not as wet as mint or possibly your lemongrass. Anyways, it is one that as you harvest your leaves for the sage, they can have a bitter flavor to them. So this is one where you do want to dry the leaves before you steep them and make them into your tea. I think the pineapple sage might be really good in an iced tea as well. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
So I might give that a try.
Okay.
And I think pineapple sage is a very decorative plant for your garden. I think it has a variegation to the leaf that makes it very sparkle in your garden a little bit, you know. And the last one I want to talk about, I have the seeds for this because my son gifted me with some seeds of the Roselle hibiscus.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know if we've talked about this before, but it is one that I'm super interested in growing. The plants that I'm talking about here today need to be planted in your Central Texas garden now. Mm-hmm. This is the time to plant them. Lemongrass and basil definitely need to be planted in the spring. I would say sage and your peppermints, you might be able to plant those a little bit all year and keep them growing. Your peppermint might kind of die back to the ground, but it will probably come back out when the weather warms up. Mm-hmm. So it could probably be pretty good. But this is the time to get those transplants out. And the Roselle hibiscus as well. As you could tell, it is related to those great big tropical hibiscuses that we find in the garden centers. Mm-hmm. And interestingly enough, they're also related to okra.
Oh, that's weird.
Okra is in the hibiscus family.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
And we grow some good okra at our place.
We do. I have some planted.
I know.
It's coming. It's coming on. Anyway, another name for the Roselle hibiscus is the Florida cranberry. Because, as you could guess, that has a little bit to do with its flavor. I've bought hibiscus tea before, and it does have that little pinch of tartness, which is really, really nice. The hibiscus that you want to make sure you're getting is called Hibiscus sabdriffa.
Okay.
Sabdriffa. And that is your true Roselle. And some other plants can be labeled the same way, but you want to be careful because you want to make sure you're making tea out of the proper plant.
Right.
And what's interesting about this hibiscus is the leaves are edible, so you probably eat them when they're young, you know, so they won't be too too tough or whatever, but they will have that little bit of tartness to them. But the thing that you're going to make your tea with, mostly, the flower is going to come out and bloom, and it has a flower similar to your tropical hibiscus, and it's quite similar actually to okra. But after the flower fades, it leaves a calyx behind, which is sort of a bright red calyx. And you're going to watch this calyx grow and grow, just like you would a rose hip. And then in the fall of the year, so when it gets really hot and then it starts to kind of cool a little bit towards fall, that's when your Roselle hibiscus is really going to bloom. And then as you go further into the fall, that is when you're going to be able to harvest these calyxes. And you'll notice that they have a seed pod inside. You don't want to save the seeds. You just want the outer part of the calyx. And you're going to dry it. And, well, actually, you can use it fresh or dry. And people in Florida did make cranberry sauce out of these
Wow.
flowers, which I'm definitely going to look up a recipe
That's
for
interesting.
that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so as we grow these plants and try our hand at making the teas, you could always look in your spice cabinet. You're going to have a little cinnamon, maybe. You could add a little, I don't know, other spices in there, something that appeals to you. But you also might look for dried fruits. We had picked up an herbal tea mixture that had diced up dried apples and diced up dried mangoes.
Yeah, we did.
In it, and that was excellent. It was so good.
Okay.
So
very interesting.
That's what I was going to talk about this week that I'm excited about doing when we get back home.
Well, that'll be fun. And you have the seeds for the one, and I think the other stuff we have growing already, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we do. I have thyme. I have so much Thai basil coming up everywhere. And I have I can't think of what else. We have sage growing.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
I might have to pick up a lemongrass.
Okay, we'll get lemongrass for you.
We might have to get a lemongrass. You can save lemongrass over the winter. You don't have to get a new transplant every year. If you will keep it in a container that you're able to move, you can move it in and out of protected area and keep it from freezing and maintain your lemongrass year after year.
Nice.
So that's what's on my list for.
Well, interesting. That'll be interesting to see. And right? I'm not a hot tea drinker, but I would be interested in the iced tea part of it.
A little flavor here and there.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun.
Yeah, me too.
Very good, very good.
I know. So, and these are all plants that I've been thinking about that go well with the warm weather. I'm sure as we go into the cold weather, there are hot teas that would be very comforting and warming, but we'll have to wait till deep winter where we live before I think about that.
If this was in Texas today, this would be deep winter.
This would be deep winter.
It's doggone cold out there.
I know. We must have looked very funny walking around shivering.
I mean, we're
not prepared.
Like I said, that's quite a temperature change for us. But it's fun. It's kind of neat to have a little different weather.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Yeah.
See, well, they have such a different tree structure, and the leaves that are peeking out of their trees look so different than the leaves that come out. Where we live in central Texas, we have the live oaks, and they're basically sort of evergreen. But what they do every spring is that the old leaves sort of give up their space on the tree to the new leaves that are pushing out. And so it's not actually like watching a tree put on its very, very young leaves. It's a little bit different. The live oak tree gets a sort of I don't know how to describe it. The old leaves lose their luster, and then pretty soon they just fall off en masse. And then the young leaves are already coming out at that time. So it is a little different seeing the bare branches pushing out new growth.
Yeah.
And the trees are so tall.
I know. It's definitely a different landscape for us.
I know.
But it's nice. It's cool to see.
Yes, I love it. I really love it. Very nice. Very nice. Well, back home, Jeffrey, the only other thing I was going to talk about today was in our garden back home, the Swiss Chard is going crazy.
It is.
We have rainbow chard, and we have a golden chard that is it's just huge, and it's glossy, and it's just beautiful. I just Oh, you could tell. I really love
I'm
it.
excited about
I'm
the
very
chard. Your
excited.
charter.
I know. Oh, I've been making salads with
I know.
it and everything. But while we were kind of, I was thinking about the flavor of the Swiss chard leaves because they do have a very robust flavor to them. It's been described by a lot of sites that I looked up as earthy, or you could also say minerally.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of almost leans towards a spinach flavor. But I find it to be quite salty myself, but a little on the sweet side, you know. And I was thinking it'd make a great sandwich.
Interesting.
And so we were traveling and we stopped at a little commercial establishment along the way, and you picked up a jar of, it was apple
jam.
Apple jam.
Mm-hmm.
And the lady behind the counter was telling us what a great sandwich it pairs well with ham and Swiss cheese.
Yes, would sound interesting.
Which sounded great.
Mm-hmm.
And that got me thinking about the Swiss chard. And I was thinking, because it is a strong flavor. So to complement the Swiss chard, this is either sauteed, or you could saute the Swiss chard with some bacon, I think, because they have that salty, good flavor to them. And then add on your sandwich, add apricot jam and your Swiss chard and bacon mixture. And I prefer a burrata cheese, which is kind of creamy and a rich flavor. And then a lot of, when I looked up what goes well with Swiss chard, a lot of sites recommended goat cheese or brie or blue cheese.
Interesting.
One of those. We're not too much of goat cheese fans, but a lot of members of our family are. But anyway, and I was thinking about you could use a crusty sourdough sandwich bread, all good and toasty, and then put your Swiss chard, bacon, and your apricot jam. Doesn't that sound good?
That does sound good.
I think we should give that a try.
That sounds pretty good.
We might give that a try after we try the apple, ham, and
cheese.
Swiss
Well,
cheese.
she said Swiss cheese, yeah.
Yeah.
Which we got to try it. That's and they they sold that sandwich there too. She said it was a big seller. So
wow,
we'll give it a try.
I think it's coming up in our near future.
I think so too. Maybe soon.
Very soon. Well, one thing about Swiss chard that I've been kind of interested, I've learned, I thought it only grew in a limited space of time in our area, but I've come to understand that it grows pretty dang well in the hot weather in our area. And what might happen is during the hottest times of the year, it might stop its robust growth and kind of enter into a bit of a dormancy state, I suppose. But then as the fall approaches and the temperatures begin to cool down, it'll flourish again.
Okay.
And so Swiss chard is a real standby thing for us to grow in our Central Texas gardens, I think.
And it's grown like crazy in our garden.
It is.
So that's cool. Yeah.
And it tastes so good. Well, the one thing I noticed also, since we're talking about leafy greens, is that I could go out in my little garden and pick my leafy greens, and they last in storage in the refrigerator a long time. They last several days, whereas sometimes if you purchase your greens outside, you really have to eat them that day.
No kidding. Lately it's worse. Yeah.
But Yeah, so I
Okay.
give 3 cheers for the Swiss Chard.
Yay, Swiss Chard. Okay. Awesome.
Very nice.
Very good.
Jeff,
Yes.
I think I have used up all of my commentary for the day.
Okay. Well, I would like to tell you that I wish I had something fantastic for Jeff's Corner, but I don't. But I will say that just in general, traveling, you and I like to drive, and I know our kids, it drives them crazy because they just don't understand. Why don't you just fly? And I get it, but we're not in a hurry, and we don't have to be anywhere. For the most part, we don't have to be somewhere, right on time. But it is nice being able to drive because you do get to see a lot of different sites, and we tend to try to take back roads and side roads, and rather than the highway when it's possible. And if you travel and you do that, you do see a lot of cool stuff that you wouldn't normally see if you're just either on the highway or if you're flying, you're not seeing anything. So it is nice, and we enjoy the drive. And
absolutely,
we kind of take our time and putter, and probably take a little longer than we have to, but we do get to stop on the side of the road and see things like we bought the jam at
I know
place.
Very, very nice.
It was a really cool place,
Yeah.
and we get to see a lot of little communities, a lot of the farming communities, and kind of just get a sense of like what other people are growing and kind of different areas.
I love that.
Kind of talk about it. So I enjoy it. It's kind of fun. That's our thing. We just kind of map out our back roads and kind of take off and see what we can see. And I'd recommend it if you have the time.
Absolutely.
There's a lot out there. There's a lot of cool places to see in the country, and a lot of small towns that there's people are out there doing their thing, and it's kind of cool to just see what they're doing. So
yeah, I love that.
yeah, that's my Jeff's Corner. I'm just traveling the back roads of America.
Ooh,
How's that one?
Yes.
That was pretty good. Yeah.
I do have a question for you, Jeff. Are you enjoying your course that we decided to get the field journal?
I am. We've been doing a little bit of the drawing.
Yep, we started the classes.
I'm actually looking forward to when we get to our destination here. We'll have a little more, time to take,
Absolutely,
to do that.
Yes.
So that'll be cool. And then, it's a lot of fun. It's fun just to kind of take a break and do that. And where we're going, we're going to visit a family member. And last time we were there, they had a big owl in the tree.
That was amazing.
So I'm hoping we'll see either the owl or the bear.
Or the
both.
bear. Or the chipmunks.
Or the chipmunks. And, those are things we don't see in Texas.
We don't see those.
So if we see those, we're going to pull our pads out and hang out and do those. But yeah, that's been a lot of fun.
I agree. I have to agree with you.
Yeah. Well, you have anything else for today's podcast, Mary?
I think I'm fresh out of new ideas
Well,
at the moment.
Pretty cool idea about the tea garden. I like that. Looking forward to tasting some of that. But we appreciate you guys joining us here. As always, we are on the road this time. And we'll keep bringing you guys some new stuff. And we'll see you guys next week.
Happy gardening,
Happy
everyone.
gardening. Until next time, same place, same time. We'll see you back here at Mary Bird's Backyard Garden.